Welcome back to Straight Facts. I'm joined by the Don, Husam. Baldy himself is here with us today. Hope you're well, brother. We've got lots to talk about today. Of course, there's Arsenal with Rice, a new £101 million bid expected today. Caicedo, the price has now been set at over £100 million to get Caicedo out of Brighton, but personal terms are agreed there with Chelsea. We're talking Man United, who have just placed a new £50 million bid with Chelsea. They've also placed a €35 million bid for Hojlund of Atalanta. We're taking a look at Liverpool's current transfer situation and should Mbappe join the Premier League and a few others as well. Loads to talk about today. The news feels like it's coming thick and fast. Viewers, make sure like buttons are hit. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace as well, and you got the bell notifications turned on too. But I wanted to start. Man United had a bid rejected a couple of days ago, but a new one today has reportedly gone in for Mason Mount, and that's for a sum in the region of £50 million. Do you think that will be successful?
Absolutely not. I don't think it'll be successful. I've been against the signing of Mount even for my own club, so I've kind of kept the same energy with it. I think with Man United, he probably fits you guys even less, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
A midfield three of Casemiro, Mount, and Bruno, I think will be a disaster. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think in terms of the way they keep the ball, in terms of just them being a little bit press resistant, their passing accuracy, all of these things, I think that would genuinely wouldn't work. But listen, for some reason, Mason Mount is wanted by all these top managers. I don't know what the hell the reason is. I wish I could tell you, because I've watched the guy, for a long time, and there's nothing that's convinced me of why you should want the guy to sign for your football club. I think 50 million, even in today's market, I think 50 is a bit too much. I still think 50 is a bit too much for Mason Mount, specifically given the fact that he's headed into his last year of his contract. So that's another thing, with I think they need to just pay a little bit less than that. I think maybe, dare I say it, probably 30 million is maybe what he's worth currently with his contract situation as well, given at Chelsea currently. So I look at Mason Mount. I don't think he'd be a success at United. I didn't think he'd be a success at Liverpool. I think the best thing for him would probably to just remain at Chelsea under Pochettino, maybe improve a little bit, maybe play his natural position. He's loved there. He's adored there. Mason Mount is never going to have Anfield or Old Trafford or the Etihad like he does Stamford Bridge. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. But because he's Chelsea through and through, the Chelsea fans love him like that. I don't think United fans would have that relationship with him. Even though the United fans, just like the Liverpool fans at Anfield, etc., they like the people, who give it their all and are running around and all this. I understand that. But I just don't think it works just from a purely football.
We want people that work hard. We want people that press. We want people that run. But they have to have a footballing output. They have to have an ability. They have to be able to, move the envelope or move the needle. Push the envelope is the other phrase. And I'm not convinced. I feel for me, 50 million is my personal upper limit. Anything more than that, because we are talking 2023. Where Morgan Gibbs-White is a £40 million player, as an example. So players cost more money. Someone here in the comments saying Barella for 50 million. That story's already been debunked by Inter. They're not letting him go for 50 million. You're talking more 70, 80, 90 plus for him. So I kind of look at it and think 50 million is my upper limit, as long as we're going for another midfielder like a Caicedo profile player, Lavia, somebody along those lines. The reports are that if Man United are not successful, so there's a few people in the comments saying that this is the same story every day. Well, it isn't. It's a brand new story that only came out 45 minutes to an hour ago, that it's a new bid of 50 million and that Man United are prepared to walk away if they don't get it. That's also been confirmed today by Nazir Kinsella, a very reputable Chelsea journalist, London-based journalist, but very well to do at Chelsea, that Man United are very much prepared to walk away if they don't get him. And Chelsea have responded with, we'll let him leave on a free in a year's time. But I actually think Chelsea are the ones in this circumstance that are running the risk of there being a problem. Man United can go and buy someone else. Chelsea have got to get rid of players that don't want to be there. Their season starts in 3 weeks. They've not got rid of any. 10, 11 days ago, they were on the edge of signing Ugarte, and 4, 5, 6, 7 players looked like they were about to leave. Havertz, Mount, and a number of others. It's all stalled now. Everything's slowed down. They've not got rid of anybody. 3 weeks to their preseason starts. They need to be very careful that they don't end up cutting off their nose to spite their face in this circumstance. So for me, yeah, look, I'm at the upper limit now. I hope it goes through at this amount and no more. But I am intrigued by it as well. Like, not on a personal level, but I don't want to act like a baby like everybody else online. It's becoming tiring. I'm intrigued to know what my manager sees in him. Does that make sense? That's the level of intrigue.
Yes.
Said, me and you don't think he's that good, but the amount of top managers that want him, I'm intrigued to know where we're going to play him, where he's going to fit in. But look, if we don't get him and we go for somebody else, I'm not going to cry about it. But I do think Chelsea run the risk of kind of cutting off their nose to spite their face.
Let me ask you a question, because you said, you know, what you would do with the United summer and all that. Yesterday we I think you as well read the report that essentially whoever is gonna take over Man United, it won't affect this summer specifically. So it's probably like for your future. Do you think you have the money, given the fact that the Glazers want to sell, to do all of this you just mentioned? That's my thing. Because if you waste 50 on Mount, would you not rather that go elsewhere? That's like how I look at it personally.
Yeah, I personally would spend the money on somebody else, but they're spending all my time online bleating about what I want. And I saw a Man United fan today quote tweet a story about City getting Guardiola, saying, "Why have Man United done nothing? Why are we not progressing anything?" I nearly responded with, "We are." What you're actually meaning to tweet is, "Why are Man United not progressing with anybody that I like?" And there's you can waste all summer moaning that you're not buying, the club are not trying to buy your favorite players, or you can spend time focusing on the reality of the matter. And my manager wants him, so I'm looking at that deal. We had actually a comment that came in from Twisted Bubba that says Terry Mount doesn't get any better at a cheaper price. That isn't what I said at all. You try to be clever all the time in everything you say, Twisted. You're trying to twist what I say or trying to frame it in a more intelligent way. I'm simply stating I don't want to go above the 50 million, because I think then you start eating into budget for other players. So that, and at the end of the day, people do the whole, it's not your money, you shouldn't care. Well, again, if you overpay for 2 players, you miss out on the third potentially. So that's what I don't want my club to do. So yeah, look, it kind of is where it is. The manager wants him. I've never been completely sold on it, but I'm willing to put some faith in my manager because I respect him, and see what kind of transpires through this deal. We have also put another bid in today as well for Rasmus Hojlund. 35 million euro bid by Manchester United has been made. The initial offer has been rejected, and the reasons here I'm reading from Atalanta is that they've set a base of 50 million with bonuses to potentially reach a total of 70 to 80 million euros. So they want 50 million as a base, and then 20 to 30 million in performance-related add-ons. So typically those things are often like the club wins Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues. So again, if you're someone who hates Man United, it's a 50 million euro deal because you don't think we're ever going to do it. What do you make of that? We've pulled away from Harry Kane, which is disappointing. But again,
yes,
there's no point wasting. There is no point wasting a whole summer chasing a player that they want 150 million pounds for. But yeah, go on. What's your thoughts on all that?
Oh, I'm so happy you didn't sign Harry Kane. Oh Lord, thank God. I still remember the first time you asked me this question about Harry Kane. I was like, oh my God, this could be a problem. Like Harry Kane having the ball like that with Rashford and Anthony on either side, that's gonna be all hell. Like, so I'm so glad you're not getting Harry Kane. That's just brilliant news for me, because I think Harry Kane really would have elevated you to the next level. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I think Harry Kane is exactly what you needed. We spoke about, I thought he'd give you 2 or 3 good years. You said 3 or 4 good years. I think he would have been the guy to probably been someone who would take you to another Premier League title or another Champions League or someone like that. So that's what Harry Kane would have offered you, and he would have offered him a trophy in return, you know. So it's kind of both people just scratching each other's backs in this relationship. When it comes to Hojlund, they watch much of him. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like a Twitter tactical who I'm gonna make a thread on Rasmus Hojlund and look at me and all this. But listen, he's a player. The one thing I'd say is no other club was linked to him, even though a couple of clubs are looking at strikers. So maybe, you know, Ten Hag or Man United do see something in him that they don't see in others. And now here's the thing, once again, when it comes to this whole monetary situation currently going on at Man United. If Harry Kane was a projected 90 million, 80 million, etc., where's that rest of that money gonna go? That's my thing. Because I'm just looking at it like, okay, so if you want to get Hojlund for 50, where's this 30 gonna go? If we're gonna get Hojlund, but you're gonna give me great improvements on other players around that. So instead of us, you know, we spoke on Mount earlier. Instead of us signing Mount, we go sign Frankie de Jong for 30 million more. Now we're talking. Now we're like, okay, we elevated ourselves. That's what I'm saying.
100%. So this is where me and you were talking backstage, and something I've noticed in the last few days is that people don't read articles and they don't listen to videos. I would say 50-60% of people that comment on YouTube videos don't listen. They just comment, because if they did, they wouldn't write the comments they make. I tweeted out earlier a passage from something David Ornstein has stated. So I dropped my pen. And he said that Arsenal were looking at Mason Mount before they were looking at Kai Havertz. But when Man United got involved, Mason Mount essentially said, if you both bid the same amount and get accepted, I'm going Man United. So Arsenal put their interest into Kai Havertz.
Mm-hmm.
3 different Arsenal fans. I only had about 10 people reply to that tweet. 3 of them were Arsenal fans, and they all said, I've been through every single one of David Ornstein's tweets, and he's not said that. Which is proof that at least 70% of people, 30% of people in that tweet alone don't read David Ornstein's articles. They just read his tweets. We've also seen
the headline.
We've also seen today David De Gea is likely to leave. The amount of people in the last 3 months, those Man United fans who have get no attention, no views, no interactions on socials, unless they're being nasty, horrible, angry, hyperbolic. Now, by the way, you can rant when you need to. I've ranted before, but these people do it every day. Is like, what can I be angry at the world for? They've been angry ever since they've read stories that David De Gea might sign a new deal at United. And the United have offered him a new deal. But I know for a fact none of them, including Lee Gunner, who's not a United fan, but always calls it out, have never read a single one of the in-depth articles that very literally explained that it was a short-term new deal with a massive pay cut, with the player being told he's likely to become second choice. Not a new deal keeping him on 350 grand a week for 5 years. It was very much we don't mind keeping you as someone that's going to be a backup, but we don't see you as the number one anymore. So seeing the news today that he's leaving, I am shocked that Man United fans are celebrating and overjoyed by it. Because if you read the actual articles the whole time, you'd have known this was a highly likely situation to present itself. Instead of going, but the manager said in the press conference that he likes De Gea. He's being tactful and professional and being a good man. Why are you triggered by it? I honestly implore people, listen to content thoroughly, read articles from top to bottom. And thirdly, stop following people that are angry every day. It doesn't do anything good for you. You just end up with ulcers. That's all it's going to do. It's a madness to me. And, you know, De Gea leaving. But to your point, to bring it right back round, Jamie Jackson was on the terrace on one of our Done Deal shows about 6 weeks ago. And he said if Man United can't get Harry Kane, that money would go into another position. So he goes, they may, if they can get a Victor Osimhen, they can get a Vlahovic, it might go there. If not, then they would look maybe at, for instance, a Declan Rice or a Caicedo. Now, what's interesting around Man United is 2 or 3 Chelsea journalists in the last few days keep saying Arsenal may or may not be in the race for him still, but Man United are starting to get serious. So I'm using that as a case in point, as opposed to the exact player we'd go for. But I think you're right. Man United now, if we're saving 100 million through not buying Kane, I expect that money to go on to another player. And there was one I saw today, and I thought to myself, this wouldn't be bad for a year. 25 million free, you'd have him for more than a year, but for Antoine Griezmann.
Oh, nah, I wouldn't want him.
Along with Hojlund coming in as well. Antoine Griezmann, I don't think did anything that great at Barca. Went back to Ati last year and had a very good season individually. I wouldn't mind, again, so I look at it this way. You can't get Osimhen and you can't get Kane, I'd rather buy the young lad Hojlund and somebody like that from a striker point of view, add some extra muscle, some extra creativity, some extra goals. And listen, I don't think but some people think Griezmann's gone backwards. I just think that he's moved to Barca, didn't work. Went back to Ati and looked great. I would look at somebody like him personally. But if not, you put all that money into a midfielder, buy another world-class midfielder. You buy someone like a Hojlund. Yes, there's still a hole in the team, and it's frustrating, but that's because the Glazers have taken 7 months to sell the club. If they'd have sold the club 3 months ago, like we were all hoping, maybe there'd be more money, if that makes sense in the budget. But yeah, look, I think from my point of view, we need a new goalkeeper as well if David De Gea is leaving. So that becomes a massive priority as well. We're probably Man United fans, I think, have already got to get their minds into this position that come the end of this summer, there is still probably going to be a hole or two in this squad. There's gonna, I think we'll buy a player.
So you're not gonna address it all, basically.
I just don't see, because there is still a limited budget with the Glazers being here. Remember, there's £50 million of interest payments to pay. There's all the debt that we have owed to other clubs. Remember, the new owners would come in, so we have to pay about 50-60 million a year to other clubs. 50-60 million a year in loan payments. That's 110 million of outgoings. There's their dividends, which is around 25 million per year. That's 125 million taken out of our transfer budget. The new owners came in today and cleared that. That's the extra 125 million pound available we have to buy players with, plus the 125 million they're already stating. And they could pump 100 million in and we could sell players. You're looking at nearly 400 million pound there. Then we could get number one targets in every position, but a goalie is going to cost us 50-60 million. Another defender is going to be similar. Two midfielders is going to be what? 120, 130, 140. And even a player of Hojlund's stage is still going to cost us 50-60. So, yeah, I just don't see that we're going to buy a marquee player in every position this summer. But that's the hand we're dealt with, the way that the club's been run for the past 17 years. And fans have just got to understand that. But look, I'm happy with the Hojlund link. I'm glad we've put the bid in for him. Let's just see really what transpires in the coming. I've actually been sent a tweet actually from a journalist who states that Man United's bid is approximately 48 million plus add-ons for Mason Mount, and there's confidence it will be accepted. So, we will see. We will see.
I think for Man United, it's just about. It's kind of. I've said the same thing for Liverpool. There are clubs this summer that I look at, and it's just about what package are they getting. Because Mount could be the part of an okay summer, could be the part of a horrible summer, he could be the part of an amazing summer. It's just about this entire package. Where does this package go from here? Because I think you definitely need a goalkeeper. For me, whether De Gea was going to stay or leave, the goalkeeper position was important anyway. So you need a goalkeeper. I know there's been talks about Costa. I see you sniffing around at Onana as well. So there's multiple different. I think there's quality goalkeepers that you could get out there. The one thing as well, though, Kim Min-jae, remember from the first conversation we had, looking like Bayern's going to take him now. We had that. We had that convo.
100%. I said it. I would be happy for us to pay extra to get him now. But again, there isn't the budget to do that at the club. They've obviously looked at the numbers and said, we can't afford to go 10 million, 20 million above the asking price. We've now got to wait until the 1st of July. And listen, with the stage we're at, now, forget history, where we're at in 2023, I totally get why you'd pick Bayern over Man United. I'm angry at how my club has been run that's left us in this position, but I understand it. This is why I'm so desperate for new owners, because you need to be. So if we were going up against Newcastle or Spurs or even Chelsea and Arsenal like now, I'd be confident. But when you're up against Bayerns and Real Madrids and Cities and Liverpools in 2023, they're far more of a sure bet. They're far more.
I think with Bayern as well, like you're looking, like he's essentially basically going to guarantee himself league titles. Like you're just talking about, he's just going to go in there. He's going to be a Bundesliga winner before you know it. Consistent Champions League football as well, which is something he'd want. So like, look, man, it's just, I think Terry Flowers from today, had he spoken to Terry Flowers from a month and a half, 2 months ago, would have been like, no way this has happened. I think he would have been, but because you're Glazers out and you understand what this ownership group is capable of, this is why your reaction is a lot calmer. But if you just went back in time and spoke to your former self when you were talking about Kim Min-jae and Harry Kane and a cheeky bid for Ivan Toney so he could come back to us in January and all of these things, now you're talking about Mount and Hojlund and it's just looking like it is a downgrade on what was first stated.
But what I would say, though, what I would say in fairness is I'm glad that the people, forget the Glazers who run it badly. What I'm glad of is that the people making the decisions are not going to do a Jadon Sancho of 2020 where we chase him all summer and don't get him. So I'd rather walk away from these players and focus on other people now. So at least our reaction, again, I don't like to praise.
Fair. That's fair.
That's what I like. I'd rather us go, right, we can't get him. Let's put our money into a different player rather than spending the whole summer chasing Kane and then you kick the season off, end the transfer window with nobody in that position. I'd rather Hojlund now, so he has pre-season with us because he's a talented player and he's got a lot of great attributes. And I was researching and reading about him a lot today. And his ball carrying ability, he drops deep, he can play well, he's got a good touch, excellent on the counter and transition, which I think is important in the Premier League in terms of how we play. He's got an eye for goal. I think he can improve on that as well. But he's 6'2", he's big and he's strong. He's got lots of attributes I like. And I watched some, not compilations, but I watched some stuff on Y Scout of him, and I'm happy with it. And at 50 million, with new owners coming in the following summer, maybe that's when we buy that marquee player if he isn't quite ready. So, I remember that City after Aguero left, they couldn't get their marquee guy year one. They waited a year. You need to sometimes be mindful not to just buy the wrong person to fill that hole either. We saw Chelsea do that when they missed out on Haaland and they went and got Lukaku. They still don't have a number 9. So you need to get it right. And this super chat here is member chat is actually right. Your biggest transfer this summer is new owners, and we've seen a lot of the British media kind of, no, there's nothing going on. But Reuters have tweeted the same story about 10 times in 12 hours. They are doubling down massively on their idea that exclusivity is potentially on its way, as it were. But
there's still British media reporting that Ratcliffe is the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with the takeover. For me, I've always had this view, just because
this could be a dramatic series at this point. This is just so dramatic. Like, it keeps changing.
It is. I look at it this way. I spoke to a friend of mine who still works at one of the investment banks that I was close to when I was in banking, and I just said, "What is your take on the Man United stock market boost and stabilization over the last 3 days?" And he was very candid and just said, "Look, there are no guarantees." He says some people call the stock market a casino, and it is to a degree, but some casino games are luck, like roulette. There are some casino games which have an element of luck, but your ability and understanding of the probability of what hand you've got based on, like it helps right? So there is a maths to it, there is a science to it, there's a maths to it, there's a way of predicting. And every time it's been announced by a media outlet and a very strong story that the Glazers may either stay with investment or Radcliffe's going to win, investors have pulled their money. The fact that 3 days running they keep investing more, he says, is an indication that the market feels like Qatar may be getting it. So you can read into that what you will, but the financial and business experts have got a very different opinion on this to the sports journalists. And when it comes to business, I'm going to trust business experts over sports experts. Equally, I wouldn't ring up a friend of mine that works in investment banking and in stocks and ask him to give me a scouting report on a football player. I wouldn't do that either. So, there's a balance in it. There is a real balance in it. And I think that don't get too carried away. I saw what Johnny tweeted yesterday. I'm like, bro, you're tempting the football gods there. But I do think there's a big chance that the Qataris own Man United.
Johnny tweeted, you mean the Neymar tweet? When he was
he tweeted something
Neymar?
like, hold that, you effing something. It's going to be the Qataris. I'm like, stop tempting fate. Stop celebrating. Do you know what I mean?
When he was calling out the people who wanted Ratcliffe, basically.
Yeah. It's like, slow down a little bit. It's not done yet. United's transfer window looks under what? Maybe underwhelming. Underarming. I've never heard that expression before. Underarming after top 4 finish. Mount, Hojlund, new goalkeeper. The way we are in transfer markets, not getting Caicedo will go cheap deals like Rabiot, disappointing 4 out of 10 window. Look, listen, depends where goalkeeper is. We bring in Costa or Onana, that your 4's got to at least turn to a 6 or a 7 because that will transform us. Hojlund, I'm really excited about. I think he's a very, very good striker in the making. Mount, I agree with you. I'm not that infused with, but let's see what else we do, because let's see who else comes in and what happens there. Even Pep signed flops. It's normal to Eric Ten Hag. Mount is not good enough. I'm sorry. Imagine Rice, Caicedo leaving and we get Mount. Thank you, legend Dave. Yeah. Some people call David De Gea a Man United legend. I call him a folk hero. He's not a legend. We've got 3 better goalkeepers who all won the Champions League in Alex Stepney, Schmeichel, and Van der Sar. And it's a very hard thing to become a legend at Man United because we've got so many legends. But he's definitely a folk hero of mine. Thank you, Sully. And this says Taremi and Hojlund with Rabiot plus Mount makes sense. I like Taremi. Taremi's a good player. I like him. I don't know how good he would be in the Prem, but I like him. Rabiot, again, that's one of those weird ones. Again, well, I'm not sold on it at all, but my manager loves that guy. My manager loves that guy.
I can't lie, you guys were so much more hyped like a month ago. Like, this is just, it is a little bit of a downgrade on what you expected still. Like, I'm not, you know, Hojlund, fair enough. He's young, exciting, but like the midfielders, the places you guys wanted to go to, the objectives you guys have. I'm gonna be honest with you, with Champions League football, I'm really not sure that Mount and Hojlund and these guys are gonna get you to the level you want to get to. You know,
Mate, I think that's a very, very fair point, and I have that same worry. So I'm not going to sit here and call you a hater. I had that same concern as well. We're talking straight facts about how we feel, and yeah, I'm a little concerned as well. But we're 2 days into the transfer window. You know, suddenly Man United go and put a big bid in for, like Caicedo. It could happen. The world could change overnight. You know, so let's see what happens. Speaking of Caicedo, I want to move on to a little bit of Chelsea now. This year, and I want to read this out to you. Brighton are demanding a staggering 100 million for Moises Caicedo. This comes as Chelsea advance talks with both the player and the club. The 19-year-old midfielder has already made a significant impact on the field, and teams like Chelsea are eager to secure his talents for their own. But 100 million pounds is now what Tony Bloom is saying is a minimum, but he values him as high as 120 million. But 100 million minimum for Moises Caicedo. That's why Liverpool was seemingly pulled out of this deal. There's reports Arsenal were pulled out. Like, what's your thoughts on it, mate?
Tony Bloom is just taking the piss, I'm going to be honest with you. 100 million is just too much. Just Caicedo is an unbelievable player. And I've been on this show and on my channel and multiple different times, and I've said I would have preferred Caicedo over McAllister. It's not like some sort of hidden fact. Caicedo is the much better player. However, 100 million is too much. That's too much money. Like 100 million, I'm sorry, with all due respect to Caicedo, I'm talking about the likes of Nicolo Barella, I'm talking about the likes of Tchouaméni, I'm talking about the likes of Camavinga, I'm talking about the likes of, Pedri, I'm talking about the best of the best on earth. A midfielder that's going to come in just almost single-handedly transform your entire midfield. I look at Caicedo, and with Caicedo, I think he's an unbelievable player. He can actually play an inverted right back as well. He's good in the 6, he's good in the 8. So for me, like, okay, he's versatile, he has Premier League, he's Premier League proven, all of that. But I'm going to be honest with you, 100 million is too much money. It's just too much money. And I think from Chelsea's perspective, I'm going to be honest with you. Look, here's the thing. This whole Chelsea situation. We've already said Chelsea, before even buying one, they need to sell 10. I look at Chelsea and be honest with you. First of all, if Caicedo goes there, he's dumb, with all due respect. Going to Man United is a lot better currently. Going to Arsenal is a lot better currently. Going to both clubs is a lot better currently. And I'm saying this as someone who absolutely hates and despises Man United. Going to Man United, there's a clear project there with a clear manager, with a clear destination. And if they do bring in Qatar or even Jim Ratcliffe, the future would be brighter than the future under the Glazers. You look at Caicedo currently, he's going to move to Chelsea. I mean, the idea of a double pivot of Enzo and Caicedo is an unbelievable idea. And I think that idea would absolutely bang. But you look at that rest of the Chelsea team, and it's just like, it's so meaty, man. Like, it's just so meaty. I'm going to be honest. There's just nothing exciting there. We've got Mudryk playing for the Ukraine under-21s. You've got their best player is an injury-prone right back. Their best centre-back is going to leave because he's too old. Koulibaly, they're unsure on. They've got a goalkeeper situation too. They've got no forward who can score a goal. So it's just like Chelsea are a mess currently. And I stick by what I said. 100%. Chelsea, before buying a single player, need to sell like 15. Like, they just need to. Now Chelsea's priority should be sell. And I don't know if you heard about this, but apparently if they don't get like 70 million by June 30th or something, there might be breaking FFP rules or something like that. So like, they've got to sell players. Like they've actually got to sell players in these next 14 days.
And that's why I've said to you, like, again, 10 days ago, they were on the edge of Ugarte. They were going to go straight in for Caicedo. There was talk of Mount, Aubameyang, Havertz, Kante. I'm just naming a few here. Loftus-Cheek was very close, according to the media, of course, to go in Milan. You fast forward 10 days, no one's left. No one's in.
Exactly.
And you're getting nearer to the start of pre-season. And I just don't think they're deeping this enough, Chelsea fans, that you can't take these 10 to 15 players that are leaving to pre-season with you. Equally, you can't add players to your squad without knowing they're going. So this whole telling Arsenal no with, turning Man United 50 million down today, maybe turning down 50 million for Kai Havertz. It's ridiculous. You are going to have to suffer some hits because of the mistakes that you've made.
Did you see today? Just today, Bakayoko left. Bakayoko.
Just today.
Just today he left.
That's because his contract's over, I'm sure. It isn't because he's been sold.
And Bakayoko, are you mad?
Do you know what's funny? Legacy issues. When I worked in banking, I got involved. I joined banking like 06, 07. So I was only in the banking 18 months a year before the biggest financial crisis ever hit the banks. And honestly, it swept me off my feet because I was a novice. I didn't really understand what the hell was going on. I hadn't had years of experience and understanding of the financial world. And for the next 10 years, legacy issues held us back because what the bank did, and all banks did this, they buried stuff. They buried it until the authorities came in, investigated, did reviews, and you found this like an absolute pile of nonsense that was going to cost billions of pounds more to fix. And what they really should have done is been very open, very honest, held their hands up, took the losses early on and moved on. But they ended up costing themselves double, 3 times, 4 times the money because they buried the problems. You don't want to create legacy issues. You make a mistake, you take your medicine, you nip it in the bud and you move on quickly. If Chelsea allowed last season's mistakes to weave its way into this campaign, they're always going to be playing catch up. And that isn't just because I want Mount cheaper, because I'm not that keen on Mount. I'm talking, generally speaking, you need to ensure you've got some of these players out the door over the next 3 weeks. Look, Caicedo, I personally think he is worth 100 million in 2023. If that's what Declan Rice is going for, I think Caicedo is worth.
So how much is a Barella worth then? If Caicedo's 100,
I look at it this way. But listen, if somebody was going to pay 80, 90, 100 million for Barella, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. You got to remember, Paul Pogba was 85 million pounds 7-8 years ago.
True.
So are these players better than Paul Pogba was? I don't think they're I don't think any of them, by the way, are better technically on the ball than Paul Pogba.
At the time, no. At the time, people looked at Paul Pogba as one of the best midfielders on earth, 100%.
Exactly. So if one of the best midfielders on earth was 85, 90 million in 2016, what are some of the best talented young midfielders worth in 2023 where the money's higher, TV money's higher, sponsorship deals are higher, social media has taken over, so the commercial impact of these players is bigger. Listen, I don't think Caicedo is bad at 100 million.
I think Caicedo is an all-rounder. I think he does a lot of things really well. And it's not like he's an all-rounder, but he does stuff like at a 5. No, I'm saying he's an all-rounder and he does stuff at a 7, 8, 9. Like you look at the tackling, for example, the best tackler in the Premier League statistically last season was Declan Rice, and second place was Caicedo, even though he doesn't play a lone 6, which shows you, okay, he's unbelievable defensively. But at the same time, it's essentially 100 million for a defensive player in a double pivot. And do Chelsea currently need that?
I understand that. They've gone and got Enzo. Enzo's also a base mark. I know they overpaid so they could pay it over time, but he was a lot of money. And listen, if Man United today put £100 million bid in for Caicedo, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. I'd be happy. It's all about whether or not they deliver. So
fair enough.
Look at Enzo Fernandez. I don't think Enzo Fernandez was poor when he joined Chelsea. I thought he played quite well. The issue was he was doing okay in a role that it's one of those difficult roles when you play as a 6 in a team. If you're winning the ball and passing the ball into good areas, but your team does nothing with it, nobody remembers what you did because it's so far back.
I think Enzo played well for Chelsea, by the way. I agree with you.
I agree. 100%. And I think that the only way a player, listen, if you spend 100 million on Caicedo and he ends up having a Basuma season, then you're going to get stick for it. And
Oh, God.
And there's always that worry. There's always that concern. But I think...
Do Chelsea need Caicedo? Do they need him? I don't think they need him. I'm going to be honest with you.
I think they do. Why do you think they don't need him?
I tell you why I don't think they don't need him. Because Chelsea, before even looking at a midfielder right now, I have never seen a club desperately need forwards more than Chelsea Football Club in my whole life. They've had this problem with under Tuchel where they're like, you've had it on the terrace. People coming on here going like, oh, look, Terry, we created 700 chances, but we didn't score any single goal. Chelsea need to score goals. Chelsea need wingers. Chelsea needs striker. That's what Chelsea needs. If I'm in Chelsea's position, before I even look in the midfield's way, I'm getting a striker and I'm getting a winger. That's before I even call and ask about Caicedo. And also, like, you look at Caicedo, 100 million. Are Chelsea trying to go down that road again with Modric, with Enzo?
I totally understand. I think they do need to build the midfield out, Chelsea, because if they get rid of everybody, they're going to be left with a very flimsy, loose, weak, light midfield. They definitely need to add. The pressure just comes down to the fact that they spent 600 to 700 million last season and finished 12th, 13th, 14th, whatever it was. I actually forget now. And there's that worry again. But as I say, if Man United, if it got announced tonight, Fabrizio Romano, here we go. Man United bid 100 million. Tony Bloom said, yes, Caicedo wants to go to Old Trafford. I am buzzing because I do believe that Caicedo for the next 7 to 10 years is going to be one of the leading midfielders in Europe. I think he's that good.
He suits Man United more, by the way.
And
you guys need him more too.
Him next to Casemiro with
Bruno at the 10.
Bruno and Mount like ahead of him.
Oh,
it's no, but
you ruined it.
Yeah, but for me, then you're talking about title, Champions League potential midfield, having a midfield that can potentially win those competitions with a midfield like that, because you've got creativity, you've got the nous to break up play, you've got Caicedo that can break up play, can progress the ball forward, is capable in an attacking role. He isn't a KDB or a Bruno or an Odegaard, but he's capable in those areas. You've also got somebody that can cover. You could have games, and I'm making a name up here, when you're playing Crystal Palace at home, where you can start Caicedo at right. You can give Eriksen a game. You can rest the right back. You give Eriksen a game. Play Caicedo as an inverted fullback. There's so many options with him. His ability is there. So look, I'm not worried about I think 120, by the way, that's too much. That extra 20 million. But 100 million would be my upper limit for a player like Caicedo. Because what is he, 20? I'm going to guess 22? Is he 22?
Yeah, he's young. I think he's 23, 24, if I'm not mistaken.
21. He's 21. 21 years of age, 100 million pounds. Listen, he could be a 10-year player for you. It's 21 million pounds a season. You'd pay to have a player like him. You pay 21 million pounds a year for a player like that. He's an absolute superstar.
He's born in 2001. Damn. I'm 6 years older than Caicedo. That's wild.
I'm old. Do you know what? I'm pretty much older than every current active football player. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. I'm pretty much older than every single one who's coming through. Why do you think Arsenal pulled out of this deal?
Arsenal, this Arsenal thing. Oh my God, Terry, man. Like, it's just the rant that I went on with Arsenal on the channel that you clipped up and you put on the Football Terrace clips. I wish I could just replay this back now. Honestly, I could just replay it back. Arsenal are just so unserious currently. They're just so unserious. Arsenal fans, I love you guys. I have no problem with you guys. I wanted you guys to win the league this season. I am not anti-Arsenal. I'm pro-Arsenal. But why are Arsenal such a joke football club? I don't get it. Edu is now away making barbecues in the only 2 months in the year where they need him. He's away from doing his actual job. You look at this Caicedo situation. Arsenal pulled out of it because of 100 million. Arsenal needs ceiling raisers. Arsenal would have been better off signing Caicedo and Rice and nobody else than whatever the hell they're planning to do right now. Even if Caicedo cost 100 million, right? Let's say Caicedo was 100, Rice was 100. Had they signed Caicedo and Rice for 200 million and done nothing else the rest of the summer, they're better off than whatever they're trying to do right now. Because Caicedo and Rice, with Odegaard ahead of them, with the front three that you had developing, getting better, with Trossard coming off the bench, even keeping Nketiah, who could easily give you in all comps maybe 10 goals, 12 goals, like you would have been in a much better position. And with all due respect to Arsenal, like it's just the lack of seriousness. That's just something that I spoke on this show, on this very show. I spoke on Arsenal's lack of seriousness, and I said, guys, Arsenal need to be aggressive. Arsenal needs ceiling raisers. I know the Arsenal prototype. You don't like bidding wars. You don't like to get into bidding wars and start putting 2 million, 5 million more, 10 million, blah, blah, blah. My thing is, look, Declan Rice had a Conference League final. Fair enough. I accept that. That's a valid argument. I'm not expecting Declan Rice to announce a move before he plays a European final. I understand that. With Brighton, if you're Arsenal Football Club, Brighton's season's been over like a month now. Brighton are a willing selling club. Roberto De Zerbi himself came out and said, I expect us to not be with McAllister or Caicedo. Liverpool done its part. We got McAllister. Done. That's it. Even though some people say he has a release clause. No problem. I accept that. That's a valid argument. But you're telling me a club like Arsenal Football Club, had they called Caicedo on Brighton a day after the season ended, they could have pulled that transfer off. They could have been the front runners. They could have been the guys who have done the most groundwork. And now I'm looking at Arsenal, and suddenly you wake up yesterday, you're scrolling through Twitter, and it's like Man City are interested in Declan Rice, and suddenly you're like Havertz, Arsenal interest, and you're just sat there like, do these guys realize what's at stake here? Like, do they understand that we've just finished second in the English Premier League whilst challenging? We're going to get Champions League football next season and try to challenge / win it again. And this is the crap we're going with? And I'm seeing Arsenal fans just inhaling copium in massive levels, trying to convince themselves that Havertz is a good signing. Havertz ain't no good signing. Havertz is a crap signing. Even if it's for depth. 60 million, 50 million, 40 million for Havertz is too much because he can't play on the wing. He can't play in midfield. And if he's just backup to Odegaard, then he's just not good enough backup to Odegaard because Odegaard is unbelievably clear in that 10 position. And if you play Havertz and Jesus as strikers, you're going to wait 500 years before you score a goal because both of them can score a goal to save their life. So Arsenal Football Club have a lack of seriousness. Arsenal Football Club need to be a lot more serious, a lot more aggressive. I expect Arsenal to have aggression. I expect Arsenal that as soon as this transfer window opens, I'm seeing first club to sign a player, Arsenal. I still remember, I'm not going to use my club like, keep using them as a positive example, but Arsenal should use us as an example because we have American owners too, and we came close and we got better and blah, blah, blah. That year where we lost the Champions League final, next day we signed Fabinho. We didn't forget all this. Wait 1 week, wait 2 weeks. No. Next day, we woke up the next day. Fabinho was wearing a Liverpool shirt, like here, and then like a month later, we had Alisson and we had Kate and we had blah blah blah. I understand it's just the start of the summer transfer window, but as Arsenal fans, even you should be expecting more of your football club, and you should be expecting your football club to be a lot more aggressive, because this lack of aggression is worrying. And the people that you're looking at, Havertz. And I swear I saw today, who's that guy? Lavia. I'm like, are you guys serious?
But Lavia is really good.
He is, but not for what Arsenal are trying to achieve.
Why though? Why is Lavia not good?
Arsenal now need to prove that this is not a Leicester season. Simple as. Arsenal need to go do it again next season. Does Lavia make them title challengers again? No. Does Lavia elevate them to be Champions League winners? No.
Yeah, but why not though? Why can't he?
Because he's too young, he's too inexperienced. I don't think Lavia would have been perfect to sign last summer, Terry, when they're in the Europa League.
Isn't it about what you're adding him to? So you've got Declan Rice coming in, who is experienced.
Yes.
24, captain, England, been finals for England, won a European Cup.
Yes.
You've got Partey in him with experience, Jorginho at the club that's experienced. You add Lavia to that mix, that's your 4, plus Odegaard ahead of them. That's a lot of experience. You can afford to add a young player into that mix, because Caicedo is
reportedly leaving to Lazio, I swear.
Sorry?
Jorginho is leaving to Lazio, I swear, right?
I haven't personally read that myself. What I'd say about Arsenal is this. I understand not getting Rice. We'll get onto Rice soon. But people criticize the signing of Odegaard. They said the signing of Ben White was ridiculous. The signing of who's Gabriel. The overhyping of William Saliba. The signing of Jesus was attacked as being stupid and pointless. Why do you want a City reject in Zinchenko? And they went on to not only make it into the top 4, but they put on a title challenge. I do think, do you not think maybe, and look, I'm going to get cooked for this because, Terry's backing Arsenal. I'm playing devil's advocate here. Do we not think we're overreacting again and over-indexing how we feel about Arsenal as a way to put them down? Because they're very close, and we'll get on to Rice a bit later in the show, to landing one of the best midfielders in the world in Declan Rice.
I agree. That's good.
I understand the Kai Havertz not really being that liked, but you do know City are looking at Kai Havertz as an option as well for backup.
City looking at Kai Havertz the same way they were looking at Maguire, the same way they were looking at Fred.
But they were looking at those players.
But not like that. They weren't willing to go above and beyond.
I understand that, but I sort of feel like in the last 2 or 3 transfer windows, Arsenal have bought really well. Not every player has worked because not every manager has players that don't work for them. Even the great Pep, who's now being lauded as the best ever, which is fair. He's had many signings at all these clubs that haven't worked, but his signings a lot of them have worked out so far, especially in the last 3 windows. So why this, in your view, why the skepticism of what Arsenal were doing from your perspective?
I'll tell you why the skepticism. I said from the beginning, before any of this even came up, I said Arsenal Football Club needs ceiling raisers. They need their Alisson and Van Dijk window now. It's as simple as that. They just cannot afford all this young, inexperienced youth crap. I'm gonna be so honest with you. And they can't afford any of these players who are simply not good enough at other clubs. Like Odegaard still played for Real Madrid, still played for Sociedad, still played for, decorated clubs, was there, had showed signs at least. And fair enough, Odegaard became the player he is at Arsenal. I accept that. But you look at Havertz, just from a football perspective, he doesn't fit on the wing. He doesn't start for Arsenal Football Club, neither ahead of Odegaard nor ahead of Jesus, because Jesus is the better player, so is Odegaard. So you're essentially going to pay 50 million for a quote-unquote depth option to play either the 10 or the 9. So does that elevate you above and beyond? No, it doesn't. Declan Rice, unbelievable signing. I like that. I think Declan Rice is a signing that elevates them, and he's unbelievably better than the players they have. Now, the rest of the players they're linked with, Lavia isn't really someone that's going to take Arsenal to a Premier League title. You look at the other guys they're linked with, and it's the same thing. It's kind of just like, okay, players. It's basically players for teams in projects. Lavia, for example, I think is great for Chelsea. I think Lavia is great for Spurs. You could even argue great for Liverpool currently, given our state, because it's not, I don't think what Liverpool are doing are a rebuild, you already know, but I think we're doing a midfield rebuild, not the whole team, just the midfield we're rebuilding. So for me, like, okay, fair enough, I'd understand that. But you look at Arsenal currently, playing essentially serious football from August until April minimum, with Champions League football coming. They need people who are going to take them to the next level. I think Arsenal Football Club start the summer transfer window, they sign Caicedo, they sign Rice, they need no one else. Had they signed just Caicedo and Rice, it takes them above and beyond.
I understand that. I understand where you're coming from. What I wanted to respond to you with, though, when it comes to what you've said there about their Alisson and Van Dijk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to put this out there. When you signed Alisson and Van Dijk, it was especially Van Dijk, it was universally laughed at by football fans. It wasn't looked at as, wow, look who they've just bought. The Van Dijk especially, I remember seeing comments like 75 million for the Dutch Chris Smalling.
Yep.
So I remember seeing these comments, and I'm just going to say this. When it comes to Arsenal, after the season they had this last year, I'm just not going to be so quick to go, that's crap, that's rubbish. I look at Lavia. Look, Lavia's 19 years of age, played 30 games in his career. Caicedo's only played like 50, 60 more games. Like there isn't
Caicedo's played at the World Cup too. Like that's extra experience.
He has, right? So he's got that little bit of extra experience. But I do think signing young players can help take you to another level, especially if you're not going to be the main centre back.
Not in the Champions League or against City.
I understand that. I understand it. But at the same time, you've got to look at it this way. And I will defend Arsenal here, but I use this as logic. It's logic as opposed to defending Arsenal. What if Caicedo just doesn't want to join Arsenal? That's not their fault, is it?
That's not their fault. But then don't go and get Lavia.
Yeah, but okay, so who else do you go for then? So if you say today,
a world-class midfielder, Barella. Perfect example.
But getting Barella out of Italy is very hard.
Okay, Tchouaméni. You call Real Madrid, you're like...
Real Madrid are not selling Tchouaméni. Barella, Inter don't want to sell Barella. So, but
Terry,
again,
they just signed Jude Tchouaméni. Is not going to play.
I'm sorry. What you've done there, you've just named, in my opinion, 2 unattainable players. So who is an attainable
Tchouaméni ain't unattainable at all.
How much is Tchouaméni going to cost you?
100 million.
And you think he'd leave Real Madrid to join Arsenal?
And I'll tell you why. It's not because he would want to play for Arsenal ahead of Real Madrid. Real Madrid is the biggest club on earth. I have no problem saying that. But currently, as things stand, with Real Madrid, they just signed Jude Bellingham. Ancelotti preferred to bring on Ferland Mendy, move Camavinga from left back to midfield over playing Tchouaméni. Ancelotti he doesn't rate Tchouaméni like that. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Real Madrid are not selling Tchouaméni or Camavinga right now. They're the future of that midfield. And look, he didn't have the greatest first season, but there's no way they're letting him go year one.
Jude, Camavinga, Valverde.
They've already
Kroos, Modric.
Okay, but Kroos and Modric are going to be gone in the year or so. It's already been confirmed by a number of reputable journalists and people connected to Real Madrid that they are not going to let him go this summer. So unless Arsenal offer obscene amounts of money, it's a completely unattainable and unrealistic offer. Barella, maybe they can get that done, but that is again colossal amounts of money.
Getting him out of Italy, I understand.
But the question is, if Caicedo doesn't want to join Arsenal,
yes,
it's conceivable that Barella and Tchouaméni don't either. So say those 2 players don't want to go. Like, you can only sign who wants to join you. And I think sometimes that's what I'm saying about Arsenal. It's not.
You should try to go for the class players, though, not a 19-year-old.
But there's no point wasting time on players that don't want to play for you.
No, but they're trying to beat City to a Premier League. I know what that's like.
I understand your point, right? But if the best 3 strikers in the world are Liverpool need a new striker, and the best 3 in the world are at City, at Man United, and at Real Madrid, you're not going to bid for them because you know you're not getting them for one reason or another. So if these players don't want to join, Arsenal would go and sign the best midfielder in the world if that player wanted to join them, and if it was attainable to get him away from a club at a price they could afford. You would. It's like all of us. We'd all go and sign Mbappe today. If Mbappe wanted to join Arsenal and Arsenal had the money to sign him, they'd go and buy him. They wouldn't say no to it. You don't turn it down. I think what people forget is maybe some of these players you're saying Arsenal should sign don't want to join Arsenal.
I think Mbappe would say no to Arsenal.
I think.
And here's the thing, here's the thing. Look, I'm just saying they need ceiling raisers. And I don't think Havertz is, and I don't think Lavia is a ceiling raiser. I think Rice is. I've already said, I think Rice is a ceiling raiser. But they need better players, man. They're trying to beat City to a Premier League title. They're trying to compete in the Champions League. They want to prove that this season is not a fluke and they want to take it to the next level. They can't be signing these players. I want to be honest with you. Havertz ain't going to take them to the next level. Neither is Lavia. Rice will. So they need someone alongside him who's going to do that. Or at least, by the way, someone in a different position. You just mentioned Osimhen, for example. Make Harry Kane do the Sol Campbell. Someone like that. Fair enough. Okay.
No, I understand that. By the way, O'Malley's right. I never said that Caicedo didn't want to join. I'm making an example. Please, people, let's not be like other communities on social media. Listen to what's being said. Stop reacting with emotion and listen, because I didn't say that. But there we go. Before we move on fully to Arsenal, Chelsea also linked with a move today for a player that I'm a little bit unfamiliar with. I know he's at Villarreal. Is it Nicholas Jackson, the striker? Are you familiar with him at all?
Nope. I am not familiar with him at all. I'm going to be honest with you. But yeah, we'll see what Chelsea are interested. But can I just say one thing about Arsenal? Sorry, I can't let this go. I have to say something about Arsenal. Comment section, that are telling me, oh my God, why don't you pay attention to your own club, blah, blah, blah. First of all, the topic's Arsenal. Second of all, Arsenal fans, I wanted you to win the league this season, so don't come at me like I'm attacking Arsenal. I'm trying to help you guys, but you guys don't want to listen. There's an Arabic saying that says, Is'al mujarrib wa la tas'al khabir, which means ask someone who tried something instead of asking the expert. We have tried competing against Man City for the title. I understand what it's like. I promise you, if Liverpool never signed Alisson and Van Dijk, we don't win those prems, bro. We don't win the champs. We don't win any of this stuff. So when it comes to Arsenal Football Club, the point I'm making is crystal clear. You need players that are going to elevate you, ceiling raisers, that are going to take you to the next level. That is what you need. All this Lavia, 19-year-old, Havertz. And by the way, I see people making the whole Havertz, to the Salah and KDB thing. Salah played like 11 games for Chelsea. KDB played like 5 games for Chelsea. And then they went to Wolfsburg, and then they went to Roma and Fiorentina to try and prove themselves and get to that level, to that stage. With Havertz, he has the most minutes for Chelsea this season. It's not like he's not had chances. He's had unbelievable amounts of chances, and he's still not done good enough. So he's not good enough to play on your wing. He's not better than Jesus. He's not better than Odegaard. But if you guys are accepting paying 50 million for a bench option that isn't going to improve you at all, then okay, fair enough. Maybe I'm the guy that's expecting too much of Arsenal. Maybe you are a top 4 club after all, Arsenal fans. I apologize. I'm just looking at Arsenal like the big club they are. My bad. Anyway, when it comes to Chelsea, Terry, this whole Jackson guy.
Yeah. Jackson, talk to me about him.
Yes, Chelsea need forwards desperately. They need someone to put the ball in the back of the net. They have a problem clearly with putting a ball in the back of the net. And I think anyone that's going to help them do that is someone that they should sign. For me, as I said even earlier on with the Caicedo conversation, I think they need to prioritize that position. If I am Chelsea and I'm going to put 100 million on anyone, I'm putting that 100 million on Osimhen right here, right now. That's who I'm putting it on. I'm not going to go put it on a midfielder. I'm putting it on Osimhen. So listen, Chelsea, they need players who are going to take them to the next level. They need players who are, in the forward line specifically, because they're struggling over there. So yeah, that's what I'd say on Chelsea. That's it. And they need to sell players. That's it. Chelsea want to prove that they sell players.
I don't know much about this Jackson guy. I'm going to do a bit of research this afternoon, but I thought maybe you'd heard of him. I'm not going to pretend to know too much. I know he scored. I read here on Wikipedia, because I want to check how many goals he scored. He scored 12 league goals last year and 13 in all comps, which isn't bad. And he's not that old. He's only 21. There's obviously time for him to improve. But you know what? I look at it and just think, you need someone who's going to be a bagsman. You need a bagsman next year. I don't know if this guy's it. This super chat here says top players don't want to go to Arsenal, in my opinion.
That's what you think.
Do you think the best
in
players
reality, it's not true.
Do you think the best players in the world want to join Arsenal?
I think currently Arsenal are a very, very, very exciting club to go to. This, in my opinion, is probably the most exciting Arsenal have ever looked in 13 years. Probably since 2010. This is the most attractive they've been. They can't use the most attractive window they've got to go sign Havertz. I'm sorry. That's just not how life works.
I hear you on that. What happened to the Inter Milan, you little egg man?
I can't lie. The egg let us down. The egg guy got them all correct except the City one. So, hey, it is what it is. Congratulations. You guys bought the Champions League. Congratulations.
Defo, a massive overreaction. If Lavia is inexperienced, so is Caicedo. There's a little weird double standard with Arsenal at the moment. I feel they'll challenge again, is what Alex says to you here.
It's not a double standard, Alex. I like Arsenal. If you tell me right now Arsenal and City are going up again next season, I'd want Arsenal to win it. I'm not anti-Arsenal. I just want what's best for Arsenal. And I don't think Havertz or Lavia are what's best for Arsenal. Arsenal need to go pay the money. Now, Stan Kroenke, who's the owner of the Denver Nuggets, who won the NBA, when he went to Denver, he's like, screw them picks. I'm not trying to get all these picks and these young players and all this. I'm trying to get the real deals. And he got the real deal, and then the Denver Nuggets have won the NBA championship for the first time ever. So you look at Arsenal, they just need players who are going to take them to the next level. Havertz, Lavia, really? Come on, man. What are we doing here?
Second season of bottling from Arsenal is why, Terry. Look, and I understand. Yeah. I'm understanding the chat in terms of that. I don't think they've got enough, but I've seen people write off their transfer windows 2 summers running, and each time people have been very, very wrong about their window. So I'm just asking questions. That's my job. John, the City fan here, says people are just saying Arsenal are unserious for the sake of it. They just put £100 million bid for Rice. If they add Lavia, Havertz, Diaby, and a defender, they are much better off than they were just getting Caicedo.
Absolutely not. And I'm going to tell you why they're not. First of all, Diaby, you see, this is the thing. People, I now clock what Terry's saying when people don't listen. Guys, listen to my argument, right? You're mentioning Havertz, Diaby, Lavia, and a defender. Diaby and Lavia both are youngsters. They're both youngsters. They both have no experience whatsoever. Kai Havertz is crap. That's already 3 players that are not there yet / need improving. By the time they improve, how long is it going to take for them to improve? How long is it going to take for them to get to the level that's quote unquote required of them? Right now, with all due respect, I'm playing Europa League football this season. I know the Champions League is a much different animal than Europa League.
Champions.
The Champions League, you're playing essentially 2 games a week from August until April, and it's serious. I can't play no kids against a Champions League opposition. And Arsenal being in pot 2 as well is another thing. You look at some of these clubs, bro, they could end up with Bayern, with AC, with multiple different like difficult clubs to play against. So it ain't like it's gonna be a walk through the park. If they sign Rice and Caicedo, it's better than them getting Lavia, Havertz, Diaby, and a defender. Just one guy. Because Rice and Caicedo would elevate them to the absolute next level, because they've got the best tackler in the Premier League with the second best tackler in the Premier League. And Caicedo can play inverted right back, as pointed out by Terry. So if I've got a midfield 3 of Rice, Caicedo, and Odegaard, do you understand how difficult it'll become to score a goal against Arsenal? Do you understand how much it will elevate them just from a purely defensive element? This is the thing. Like, you bring in players like that. It's like you telling me, John, 3, 4, 5 years ago, Husam, you're better off instead of signing Van Dijk, you should have went and signed like 2, 3, center backs and a midfielder with that money. I'm like, absolutely not. 99% of the time in football, 99% of the time, you get what you pay for. It's as simple as that. And Caicedo is a guy who's going to elevate you.
There we go. Against top 4 side player like Mount Rabiot in midfield in Anfield or Etihad, another 7-0 invitation. Thanks, Jay. I appreciate that, mate. Thank you. Is McAllister enough even to get top 4? Salah, Mane, Robertson weren't elite when you got them. You, man, hate FSG, won your first league in decades.
Feliz, let me tell you how I know you're rattled. You're an Arsenal fan. And instead of actually responding to my Arsenal points, you come at the club I support. Liverpool are, you know what? Let me make your life simple, Feliz. Liverpool are crap. Liverpool are the biggest underachievers this whole season, and we're shit. What does that have to do with you signing Rice or Caicedo this summer? Absolutely nothing. We're crap. We're a top 4 side now, yes. And we're in the Europa League. Does that change who you need to win a Premier League title? No. So your head's on Mars, Feliz. Your head's on Mars. Thank you for the super chat, my brother. But McAllister was not part of the Rice conversation. When we get to the Liverpool section, you're going to get my answer on that. Big up to you, Feliz, though. Your head's hot, just like the rest of the Arsenal fans. For some reason, they're attacking Liverpool like I'm saying anything negative on their club. It's mad.
There we go. There we go. Speaking of Arsenal, now this is a real interesting one. According to reliable sources, Declan Rice has picked Arsenal as his next club, and the deal is now expected to complete soon. West Ham are expecting a bid from Manchester City for Declan Rice in that process as well. But Declan Rice's preference remains Arsenal. He's fully convinced by his role in the Arteta project. It's looking like £100+ million for him. What's your thoughts on that, mate?
I mean, using the logic of the Arsenal fans, they should have took that 100 million and spent it on 3 midfielders. It's better, no? I think Declan Rice is definitely making the right decision. With all due respect to United and Chelsea, with all due respect to anyone who's interested in Declan Rice, I think Declan Rice at Arsenal just makes sense from every single way you look at it. It's someone that is going to take Arsenal's midfield to the next level, and it's a club that's going to take Declan Rice to the next level too. I think, here's the thing. Some people will say, like, obviously, Conference League is not the level of the Champions League. I know that. But you need to understand the club that he's playing with. West Ham winning the Conference League is the biggest achievement in their club history. So you're talking about something that's kind of not like, it's essentially like Burnley coming up and winning the Conference League, like a club like that. So a club like that being captained by Declan Rice to go lift a Conference League is something that I'm not going to push to the side like it means nothing. I think that's unbelievable for Declan Rice. I think he's got European experience. The year before as well, people forget this. Not this year, the season before that, West Ham got to a Europa League semi-final, and he was as well part of the team, and he was captain, and he was someone who has that experience. So he's got experience in European football, not necessarily Champions League level, but he's got experience in European football. He's a Premier League experienced as well. West Ham captain. He's the best player West Ham has. He's, as I stated earlier on, statistically the best tackler, the best ball winner in the Premier League, statistically speaking, which shows you clearly that basically offering an extra shield as well to their 2 centre backs. So for me, Declan Rice is making 100% the right decision. I think Arsenal is the club that's going to take him to the next level, ahead of United and Chelsea currently as things stand. So I think he's definitely making the right decision. And 100 million for me ain't expensive. Given his age, given his experience, given the qualities that he possesses, I think 100 million is fair for Declan Rice. And that's actually why I don't think Caicedo is worth 100, because I think Rice is better than Caicedo. So I'm just kind of doing a little bit of a measuring thing, and I'm just reducing Caicedo by a little bit. But I think Declan Rice is going to be absolutely unbelievable. And now I'm going to just say this. I'm going to just put this out there. If somehow, some way, Arsenal fans, Declan Rice ends up signing for Manchester City, then you guys, you need to like get Edu out. There's some guy apparently called Garlic at their football club that's stopping like these transfers going through or whatever. You need to go and unite. Forget Arteta. You need to go and unite and get those two out, because if somehow Rice joins another football club after publicly essentially twerking for you for this last year, you twerking for him for this last year, it's bad. It's real bad. So I think for me, Declan Rice is 100% the right decision. 100% the right decision. And as me and Terry said before, I think he's better than Xhaka. He's better than all their other midfield. With Partey, this is what's interesting. I think Declan Rice is a much better defensive player, but I'd give Partey the passing side of things. I think Partey is a better passer than Rice. So maybe if they play them together, it's kind of the perfect combination, you know, where like there's that strong defensive guy and the guy who passes the ball well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, I think someone here says, Terry, where are you hearing this news? Well, Nazir Kinsella has said that Arsenal's, he says that Declan Rice's preference remains Arsenal. He's fully convinced by his role at the club. And in terms of, there's a number of outlets today, so kind of aggregating them, the Telegraph, the Times, the Daily Mail have all essentially said Arsenal still leading the race. Rice wants to go to Arsenal. And there's a belief that this new bid should be enough to get it done and dusted. However, it does, a lot of them do state that City may still put a bid in. So this is why, again, I've said it for 2 days straight now. I'm not going to give the same analogy again and again and again, but get out the water, bring the player into shore, because there's a big blue shark circling and it will chomp you in half if you're not careful. The longer you delay it, the more chance there is that Declan Rice says something else. And I gave this example earlier. If you're dating a girl, she wants to settle down and commit. She loves you a lot, but you don't really want to be in a long-term relationship. You just want to have a bit of fun and go on dates. Trust me, bro. The taller, better looking, wealthier, more successful, funnier guy comes along and is very interested. In the beginning, the lady will still be like, "No, that's my guy, so I want, that's who I want." But over time, that can be eroded. And you need to be mindful of that. Don't rest on your laurels. Get it done. Get him off the thing. And look, 101 million, it's a lot of money. There's no doubt about that. But look, again, like I said, I think it's absolutely worth it in every single which way possible. I actually think Declan Rice, barring probably Saka, I think Declan Rice becomes Arsenal's best player overnight. I'm talking footballing ability coupled with leadership, versatility in midfield positions. This guy is special. Very, very special indeed. And he's definitely their best midfield player. And you'd probably argue Saka is probably better than him. Gundogan definitely would, as he's an academy player as well. But this guy is a colossus. This man is something special. What he led West Ham to, I know we've become very obsessed as football fans with the top six and the biggest teams, the Super League teams and all of this. But achieving what he did with West Ham, winning their first trophy in 43 years, winning their first European trophy in 58 years.
That's crazy.
It's out of this world, with David Moyes as his manager as well. He hasn't done it with like an elite level manager either. So, yeah.
I agree with you, but I wouldn't say second best player. I'd still put Odegaard ahead of him, because I think Odegaard's had an unbelievable season this year. But yeah, after that, listen, Rice would definitely, I agree with you. There is nothing even to argue here. Thing is, with the City thing, though, I'm under no illusion. I think Man City are 100% the most attractive club in England to go to for any player. Let's just cut the BS here. Any player would choose City over any other club currently in England. So I think if the whole City thing starts to happen and they genuinely try to go for him, that's the only time when Declan Rice is gonna question himself. He's gonna go like, man, I have the opportunity to play for Manchester City here. So, like, I think that's probably the only club currently in England who would force Declan Rice out of Arsenal's hands. And I'd say Liverpool for the currently. I think us both could force him out of Arsenal.
I think, yeah, but you guys ain't got the money for that. We already know that. You've pulled out of too many of those big deals. Caicedo, Jude Bellingham. City could, but I still think Arsenal lead the race right now. I think it'll be an absolutely succession. I love this here. Terry is obsessed with transfers, but no one watches. Michael, yeah, 2.4 million individuals have watched my videos in the last week alone. But what I'll do for you, Mike, my old mate, I'll block you right now so you don't have to see it anymore. Cheers, bro. Thank you very much. Take care.
And there's 2,200 people watching right now anyway. Like, it's just... Can you just look at the number, Mike?
Yeah, but I'll block you so your ears are not polluted with transfer talk. Yeah, sorry, we're not doing a match reaction when there's no games on, Mike. Sorry, bro. Sorry, my G. See you later.
The number's right in front of your face, man.
I do feel sorry for a lot of these people, though. I do feel sorry for the ones that, because you know what it is? Most people that lash out at you on channels, it's just because that's the only way they believe they can get attention. Like, they don't have the confidence to make a good football point and get noticed. I'm going to have to be nasty. Do you know what I mean? Or Terry disagreed with me once. I'm going to hate on him forever. They just want attention. But you got your attention there, Mike. You got your attention, bro.
Can we put up Anonymous's comment? Because I feel validated with Anonymous.
Whose comment?
Anonymous, the one right under this. Look at this beauty right
what do you
here.
say?
I'm an Arsenal fan. Love this club. I completely validate Husam's argument. He's spitting his stuff. Thank you, Anonymous. Thank you. Thank you. Instead of attacking my club, listen to what I'm saying, dumbasses. Because I wasn't even against you. I wanted you to win. These guys, bro. Thank you, Anonymous, whoever you are. Because clearly you're anonymous. Thank you.
Yeah, look, I think you made some points. I do think Arsenal's window is going to be a lot better than people are making it out to be. Level Earth says Terry equals cringe and triggered. Do you know what's amazing? Let's just say I am cringe. Do you know what I'm saying? I live a very good life of being cringe and triggered. It's funny, really, because you guys want the attention. So I'm now reacting to you, and you'll go, great, I triggered him. You do realize, Level Life, that you're going to remember my name for the rest of your existence. And once I drop your comment away, I'll never, ever think about you ever again. But thank you, bro. That's what he wanted, by the way. He just wanted that negative interaction. So I thought I'd give it to him. Terry, I watched all your content. Love from South Africa. Big up yourself, Daniel. And let us know in the comment section where you're watching from around the world. I want the town and country. If it's a UK town, just write. We'll know it's actually no, because some UK towns also in America and in other parts of the world. So let us know what country, town and country you are watching from, my friend. I'd love to know. What's this here? Myth fallacy. Lol. No correlation. Numbers don't mean nothing. They also don't. Sorry. Does it say candidate you as a
candidate you?
Validate you. I think. But great corny response from Terry. He's so sensitive. So numbers. So the amount of people that watch my videos doesn't equate. And you're talking recurring viewers as well every month, and it's the same people because analytics shows you your recurring viewers every month, same people. So that doesn't correlate. By the way, I didn't say it makes me credible.
No, the guy said no one watches. So how else are you gonna disprove that without using numbers? Like, of course, numbers. How are you gonna using Terry's eye test? People watch. Of course, he has to use numbers. Like what?
That's really funny as well when people go, "You're not credible." No fan that does fan content's credible from a like an Ornstein because none of us know anything. It's all opinions, real fans. We're not meant to be credible. Like. Or someone said to me the other day, why do you share like transfer news? What if it doesn't happen? I'm like, it doesn't matter to me. Like my genuine viewers don't go, oh, Terry got this one right and this one wrong. It's not about that. It's about sharing the news and we give opinions on it. That's what football, Mario, maybe like, I don't know how you were brought up. It might've been wrong, but like, that's what you did growing up as a kid. You'd sit at school or in work where you weren't talking about rumors about football. All social media is an extension of that. But listen, Mario, I hope you're well, my friend. I hope you're good.
For a channel that doesn't have viewers, if you scroll through the comments, you'd find people from every single
corner of the
continent,
world.
every single continent: South America, North America, Africa, Asia, Europe.
I will say this: some people like Mary, some people just I do feel sorry for them because they're obviously unhappy in life. Because happy people don't get aggressive on YouTube comments. happy people enjoy the content. So I do feel for people. I really, really do. Terry, don't be rude. I'm not being rude. I'm being genuine. I hope they feel good soon. Watching you for the first time, and it's quite interesting. You're doing well, Terry. Thank you very much, my brother. I really appreciate that. And keep watching. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure bell notifications are turned on as well. Stats are nothing without the eye test. A player must be subjected to both and later compare the data gathered. So what? I don't know.
How I test the amount of viewers? That's the question that we have to ask here.
You can't do it, can you? Yeah, but I pay for them. I pay for all my viewers. I quit my job in banking and I pay for all my viewers. No one really watches the Terry. It's all fake. Pay for it. You know, I mean, I'm 300 grand in the hole. I'm gonna be bankrupt in a few weeks. It's crazy. What's going on with Liverpool? Who are you guys after now?
Oh, speaking of crazy,
I'm not saying anything.
You know, there's been a meltdown in the Liverpool fan base over this last week. And unlike, people on Twitter who want to act superior, like Ben and other people like that, who think they're better than everyone else, when it comes to Liverpool, for me, I just let people express their emotions. Because I'm just looking at it. This is all based in fear. Fear of the Qatar takeover, fear of Manchester City, fear of Arsenal, fear of everyone. You look at Liverpool Football Club currently, and it's just like, I'll give you an example of why we're annoyed. Yesterday, article come out. Gvardiol, was seriously considered by Liverpool, but Liverpool Football Club did not have the finances for it. And now people like me will come out and say, I have no problem with us saying we don't want Gvardiol because he don't fit the system, because Klopp doesn't want him, because Klopp doesn't like him, maybe because he has attitude issues, whatever. But don't come tell me the reason why we're not going to sign Gvardiol is because of money. When 6 months ago, you come tell me we've made record revenues. And now someone's going to tell me revenues is not like profits. Thank you, Sherlock Holmes. I never knew. Guess what? A lot of clubs don't be making profits like that. A lot of clubs aren't making profits like that in the world of football. It's revenues they make, not profits. And you look at Liverpool Football Club, and this is what annoys people like me who are making genuine arguments here. Liverpool win the Premier League, we got no money. We win the Champions League, we got no money. We qualify for the Champions League, got no money. We don't qualify, got no money. Is there any scenario in which we got money? Like, is there any scenario in which we're like sat back like, oh, we actually have money? Like, it just makes no sense. We're waking up, we're seeing Newcastle linked with Barella, whether it happens or not. I'm just talking about the idea. We're saying about Gvardiol to City. We're sat here looking at Caicedo to Chelsea. We're sat here looking at Declan Rice to Arsenal, and we're looking at who? Kefren Turam to Liverpool. Kefren Turam is a fantastic signing. I think he improves us. But when we're talking about levels, though, let's be real. Unless he suddenly explodes into form next season, that's a level below what the other clubs are linked with. And we have every single right to be upset and to be angry. And I think at this point in time, if you're an FSG inner, if your people still supporting the people that back the club, it's either you've got exclusive opportunities that you don't want to let go of, or it's simply an ego thing where you just want to prove yourself to be right, or you're straight up dumb. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's no fourth choice. It's either one of these three. Because you look at this current ownership group and everything they've supplied to Liverpool Football Club, and it's simply just not been good enough. We were excited, a lot more excited about the summer, probably, after hearing about everyone else. The excitement has a little bit been honed down. And I understand why, because that's just typical human emotion. When you see your biggest rival being linked to Qatar, you see everything that's going on with the other clubs. It's normal for you to take a step back and go like, wow, like we're actually not that as good as we think. And I'm just looking at this FSG situation, this Liverpool Football Club situation, and I'm just going like, a club as attractive and as big as an institution as Liverpool Football Club cannot be sat here after telling everyone for 2 years that this is going to be the big summer because of Jude, now telling everyone that we don't have the resources for this and that and this and that and this and that. Just like every other club is linked to big players, we should be linked to them too. We should try get them too, because they're players that would take us to the next level, 100%.
Yeah, I get that. And as you say, it's been very quiet with Kone and the Turam news. Nothing really progressing. No real noise around any of it, which I know will be frustrating to a lot of Liverpool fans. But it's, as you say, you need more than that. And I keep saying this to people. I'm putting pressure on Man United. Everyone's acting like the season starts in 2 months. It doesn't. The season starts in 3 weeks. Pre-season starts. And if you're a team that needs to progress, it's okay look, City, they're going to be fine. I think for a lot of our teams, with you need you need 5-6 players.
We do.
You need at least 4 of them in for a good chunk of preseason. For a good chunk of preseason, you need them in. There's some breaking news, though. I want to divert away from what we're talking about for a second. Ilkay Gundogan has been released by Manchester City. He is on their released list of players today.
Now, so he's not renewing his contract, basically.
Well, there is talk that the contract offer is still on the table for him. So they've had to officially announce his release because theoretically his contract had run out as of the 1st of June, I think. So he's no longer a City player. But the fact that he's still, I know that they won the treble on Saturday. It's only been a week, but the fact that he still hasn't made his mind up suggests that he may be on his way. I mean, is that not a player you lot should be looking at?
Gundogan, oh, he'd come in. He'd be our best midfielder straight away. He's played under Jurgen Klopp too, so it'd be unbelievable. But I don't think Gundogan do it, though. I don't think Gundogan would go from being captain of City to playing for another Premier League club. I'm going to be honest with you. Just guessing the type of guy that Gundogan is, I think he plays for a club outside the Prem. I don't think he represents anyone other than Man City in the Prem.
It feels that way to me as well, in terms of where he's going to go. But, I'm not too sure. I mean, he's brilliant. And what a last month and a half he had in the Prem and the 2 goals in the FA Cup final.
Very clutch.
A treble. Just unbelievable. Literally, him and Roy Keane, the 2, you could argue most successful captains in the history of English football, in terms of total trophies, winning trebles, greatest achievements, just sensational. An Irishman and a Turkish German who, leading the way as the Premier League and English football.
All along, I thought Gundogan was like the captain when KDB is on the bench or something. It turns out he's the actual captain. Like, I never knew that.
Yeah, I mean, City's interesting as well, though, because they're looking at Guardiola and Kovacic. Like, they're looking to, like, reinforce themselves very, very quickly. Like, they don't mess around. They don't mess around, City, do they? They don't mess around.
And Kimmich too. Apparently, if this Kimmich thing comes off, oh, Lord, it's over for us all. Hey, Arsenal fans, forget what I said. You forget what I say. It's all over for everyone, man. If they go get Kimmich, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to just give a suggestion to the FA. Give the English Premier League to Man City and let the other 19 teams play each other, and let's just see who's 2 to 20. That's all we need to find out. Because if they go get Kimmich, they go get all these players. Oh, it's all over. It's all over. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this all kind of plays out and works. Felix Johnson, who's a Chelsea reporter, has just actually reported that Chelsea and City have reached an agreement of 40 million euros for Mateo Kovacic. So, listen, maybe that's a start of many players going out the door. And listen, if Kovacic is 40 million, how old is Kovacic? I actually want to check because I don't know how old the man is. He's got to be 30. He looks like one of the men.
Kovacic is old. He ain't young.
No, you just don't know how old somebody is by looking at them. How old is this man? He's 29. So if he's 29, okay, and he's how long did he have left on his contract? I'm trying to work out here in terms of what you're saying about the valuation of other players, right? So he has a year left on his contract as well, and he is like 5 years older than Mason Mount. If he's going for like £30 million, they can't be asking those 75 million for Mount. They can't, because most Chelsea fans would say that Kovacic was better than Mount as well. So
most football fans in general would say that.
Would say he's better. No, I agree. I agree. But yeah, City don't mess about at all. This year says Arsenal need to look at Bakayoko to get the next. Need to look at Bakayoko to get to the next level. Forget Rice and Caicedo is what Gav says here. Obviously,
Gav is trolling clearly.
Having a bit of a troll. Don't listen to this clown. These clowns. Love your content. Been watching since COVID. And Salam Husam.
Big up, Abdullah.
Abdullah, appreciate you saying that, my friend. And listen, by the way, the trolls. I actually love the trolls. The trolls are they're like a little side dish for me. I like when I order my meal in a restaurant, I'll always order a bit of mac and cheese on the side. You know what I mean? Or a bit of garlic bread with cheese on, and just it's nice. It's there. I might not eat all of it, but every now and then I like to take a spoonful or a little bite out of it. Do you know what I mean? They're just a side dish for me. This here says first. Is that what's that?
First outing for
Chelsea. Kovacic. Oh, it's against Man City. Oh, first outing for Chelsea in the transfer market. I thought you meant first outing in terms of. I'm about to say, no, they don't play him in the first game of the season. Yeah, that's a massive one. That's we're going to be getting Felix on the terrace soon, actually. I reached out to him the other day. What's annoying is Arsenal fans making threads of how Kai Havertz actually is good. Again, not worth the price for me. There's a reason why Lee went mad.
Thank you, Manny. That's what I've been trying to say all stream long. I appreciate you. An Arsenal fan who could think. Thank you, Manny.
Big up Husam from Uganda.
Love, my brother. Big up Morsin.
Odegaard, Saliba, Saka, Martinelli over Rice. No, he's better in my opinion than all of them, maybe but Saka. He is. And listen, it's not just technical ability as a footballer. There's more to your game than that. Availability, leadership, all these things play a part. He'll become a stellar member of your dressing room straight away. Arsenal fans are good. Listen, right now you say no because you don't love him yet. Trust me, he'll be your best player. David Moyes has entered the chat. Sorry, Moisey. Big up, boys. With Chelsea getting Caicedo and potentially getting a top striker towards the end once the sales happen. Where do we finish?
Top 6, I don't know, top 7, somewhere like that. But given that whole heritage rule, that whole heritage thing, Chelsea need Liverpool to finish in the top 4, and they finish anywhere they get Champions League, essentially. So that's one positive thing for Chelsea, because currently their coefficient is 3rd, I think, to Liverpool and City. So City is number 1 after they won the champs, of course. Liverpool are 2nd. So Liverpool could finish outside top 4, make Champions League. So could Chelsea. So you don't essentially need to finish top 4 anyway. But you need us to be in the top 4 in order for you to get that.
There we go. I don't think Arsenal need 1 to 2 first-team players. Their squad needs improving. Players like Lavia would be good squad players for them, is what Jimmy FM says.
Yeah, good squad players for Carabao Cups and FA Cups, and the Premier League game against Luton Town at home, fair enough. But if I'm pulling up to Real Madrid, to Inter Milan, to these stadiums in Europe, or I'm playing Man City, Liverpool, I'm playing these clubs, Man United, Chelsea, I can't be playing players like that, to be honest with
you. I hear you. Salam Hassam, he says, reckon Rice is a unicorn now. I say
Diallo is a Barcelona fan who's really big on Declan Rice. He calls Rice a unicorn. Listen, I think Rice is a fantastic player. That don't make him a unicorn, though. What does
the unicorn thing mean? Explain that to me.
The unicorn is basically a player that's far and beyond unique from what all other players offer. I wouldn't say he's a unicorn as in he's special like that. Like,
yeah,
a unicorn is.
He's not a Zidane. He's not a Messi. He's not a Rashford. He's not a Paul Scholes. But yeah, I hear you.
A unicorn, even you could even look at it from not just unbelievable player. I think Dan Burn is a unicorn, as in a 6'5" player who plays left back. That's a unicorn. But I look at Declan Rice. I don't think like he's a unicorn, my guy. I'm gonna be honest with you. He ain't a unicorn. He's an unbelievable player, but he's not a unicorn. He's definitely not.
I hear you there. Why are fans not in the Champions League talking?
That's a brilliant question, Jay. I can talk about the Champions League. I don't know who the hell Jay supports, but I'm a 6-time Champions League winner, my brother. Liverpool Football Club got an original in the Liverpool Museum. Make sure you go check it out. All the others in England have replicas. So until you go get an original one, come back and talk to me.
Do you know what's annoying about that? They changed the rule. No one will ever get one.
No one can get an original.
Change the rules. I know, that's so annoying. It's so annoying.
Yes.
I know, it's so annoying. It's so annoying they changed that rule. But there we go. Listen, everyone who's tuned in today, I want to say a big thank you to each and every one of you. Please hit the like button before you leave. Please make sure you subscribe to the Terrace as well. For Sam, always a pleasure to share the screen with you, my friend. Until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again.